This is the Sports Stop with your hosts, James, Atticus, and Evan. Only on WSJU Radio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to the Sports Stop here on WSJU Radio. I'm WSJU's own James Mitchell. Alongside me is my partner, Atticus George, and that's it. See, Evan is not here. He's actually went home for some personal reasons, so our thoughts are going out to him and his family. And Andrew, apparently he's got a paper due tonight, so he's, school comes first, as always here at St. John's. So, it's just two in the booth. So we're, it's like the NCAA championship. We had 4, now we have 2. Now who's going to be the final one? You ready to fight to the death, Atticus?
Let's do this.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. I don't have a soundbite. I wish I did. All right, so it is just Atticus and I, so of course call in. We need something to talk about at 718-990-3SJU. That's 718-990-3758, or you can tweet at us. I'm going to be doing the Twitter today. So tweet at me at SportsStop All right, so we just went over the NCAA championship games. UConn swept the men's and the women's. 7 and 8 seed. Mm-hmm. For the men's, it was UConn, the 7 seed, against Kentucky Wildcats, the 8 seed.
Yeah.
That was a close game all around. It looked like Kentucky was leading. I don't think Connecticut had a lead at all that game.
Kentucky never had a lead.
Yeah, Kentucky
they never led that game.
Right. They from the get-go all the way to the end.
They started really, really slow. UConn just came out and was firing, hitting everything, playing. I mean, they have one of the best 1-2 guards in the entire nation. That's a really, really hard defense to get past, and that's obviously why they went through so many good teams and win and even won the championship. I mean, those 1-2 guards, you can't get past them. Yeah. And
to think, they almost lost to St. Joe's in the first round.
Yeah, I actually had St. Joe's beating them in the first round. Yeah,
me too. So
and
we were wrong.
yeah.
I wish we. I prematurely ripped my bracket. I wish we had a segment on the show where you can just 3, 2, 1, and we'd all rip the brackets together because nobody did well. Atticus, honestly, I think you won.
I think I did win
mainly because you had Florida in the.
I had Florida and Wisconsin in the Final Four, so I had 2 Final Four teams.
Yeah, and Evan, I don't think Evan had anybody.
Probably not.
I think he had Florida.
Did he? I thought he had who was the 2 seed in that?
Oh, Kentucky?
No, they were in the opposite side.
No, not Kentucky. Kansas.
Kansas.
I apologize.
There we go. I think he had Kansas.
I don't know,
but I don't remember. Yeah.
You can look it up on our YouTube channel though. Just look for the date. It was the Wednesday before the tournament. I forget what the date is, but that's at SportsStop WSJU YouTube channel. So you want to check that out too. This show's going to be on it later this week. We have the past 2 weeks on. I've been good with that. I've been good the past 2 weeks. Also, the women's UConn Huskies, the Lady Huskies.
Yeah,
they finished their perfect season.
Yeah, it was the first time 2 undefeated teams had ever met in the championship for women's.
Exactly. So that was something else, and it didn't really seem like it because they crushed Notre Dame.
They obliterated Notre Dame. I was watching that game, and it wasn't even close. It was close at halftime. Notre Dame was down 7, I think, at halftime, and I think Gino, the women's coach for UConn, just had a great halftime talk and was like, "We can do this. We're undefeated in championships."
Yeah, now they're 13-0.
Yeah,
the
combined.
School is,
in national championship games, which is insane. It's also the second year that UConn has won both the men's and the women's basketball tournaments, and they did it. The one time that they did it before that was exactly 10 years ago in 2004.
Really?
Yeah, so it's the 10th anniversary. So I'm betting in 2024, both teams are going to win again.
If you go to Vegas, I want to know those odds.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think you have a pretty good odds coming up because UConn has won 4 out of the last 5 tournaments. They've won 9 with Gino in the past, I think 15, 20 years or something like that. And the men's team has the most national championships in men's Division I basketball since 1999 with 4.
Yeah, they won 4 of the last 15.
Yeah.
And now they're right up there. I think they have the same amount of championships as Duke.
I think yeah, I know they have the same. I know Coach K has 4. So yeah, they probably do have the same amount.
They're really making themselves, they're putting themselves in greatness talk, saying, one of the great NCAA basketball programs in the country. I mean, you have UCLA, who won, I think, 8 or 9, way back when.
Yeah, I think John Wooden's 8-0 in championship games.
So they haven't won any since then, I really don't think. But, I mean, UConn, they're coming out with a bang in the past 15 years, you can tell.
Definitely.
And, of course, first-year coach Kevin Ollie, he, I believe, this was his first year, right?
It was...
Or was it his first?
It was his first year in the tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the first coach to win the NCAA championship in his first year of the tournament.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes. Of course, he was a Seattle Supersonic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he was, I think it was like 6th man with Kevin Durant, and then I think he left that last year in Seattle. I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. So, I mean, on the other side of coaching, Calipari of Kentucky, a lot of reports are saying he could be going to the NBA. The Lakers might be looking at him.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know how I feel about that. I think it's probably just speculation right now. I think it's rumors being spread about him right now, because he seems like he's pretty comfortable in that Kentucky job. I mean, he won the championship 2 years ago with all 5 freshmen, or not all 5 freshmen, but he had all 5 starters went to the draft, and then he had nothing, didn't make the tournament. This year he got 5 out of the top 10 recruits in the nation, so he had all 5 starting freshmen again, made it to the championship again. I'm not really a big fan of Calipari. I don't like how he runs his program. I understand players who are one and done, who want to get to the league and get paid so that they can help support their family and whatnot. I totally understand that. I respect that. But when a coach intentionally goes out there and just searches for all these one and done players,
right,
which he does time and time and time again,
it kind of cheats the system.
It really cheats the system. I don't enjoy watching it. I like to enjoy a player playing all the way through, and that's why I have a lot of respect for UConn now, because UConn has won the last 2 times UConn has been in the tournament. They've won the men's tournament because they won in 2010 with Kemba Walker.
Yep, Kemba.
And then they had a 2-year ban for recruiting, so they didn't make it the last 2 years. And Shabazz Napier stayed on the team. He was a freshman when they won that one in 2010, so he had 1 ring from there. He stayed on the team throughout the ban and came through, played his heart out this season, and won it again as a senior. And I have real respect for that, for staying all 4 years, even though he couldn't win a national championship for 2 of those years. There
are reports saying that he could be a late first, early to mid second round pick, Shabazz Napier.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he has 2 NCAA championships, and he's going to probably be drafted by an NBA team. So, life's pretty good for him right now.
Yeah.
He had 22 points in the win, by the way.
Yeah, they showed his stats throughout the tournament compared to Kemba Walker's stats in the tournament.
How similar were they?
Very similar. They both scored around 22 points, both had about 5.5 rebounds or so, and both had about 5.5 assists. So very, very similar stats.
Yeah, like you said, Kentucky had all freshmen, and that goes into the conversation of experience in the tournament. I mean, Kentucky usually kind of breaks that conversation. That they're the exception. But I was watching halftime, and one of the reporters interviewed Calipari, and one of the players, I forget who it was, he was struggling the first half, and they asked him, what do you think's the problem? He's like, he's 18. He's nervous out there.
Yeah.
Well, you got Shabazz Napier, who's been here before. He's not as nervous as all these freshmen. So, experience does matter in big games such as this one.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. I mean, UConn was way more experienced. And just like I mentioned before, they have that great on-ball pressure. And that great on-ball pressure against these 18-year-olds who haven't really experienced this before in a crowd of 70-some thousand people at Dallas Stadium, and you're just being pressed and pressed and pressed.
In front of 2 former presidents.
And yeah, Bill and W were there.
That's right.
Sitting next to each other. Yep.
Also, Jerry Jones was there and Tony Romo was there.
Yeah, and Jason Witten.
I saw one of the funniest things on it was my Facebook. I think Sports Nation might have put it out there. I'm not sure, but it was one of those memes. The memes.
The memes, yeah.
Yeah. It's that sad fact that UConn has more postseason wins in AT&T Stadium than the Cowboys. So I got a good chuckle out of that. Speaking of chuckling, how about before the tournament, a guy, a big Kentucky fan, obviously, he got a tattoo saying that Kentucky was going to be the national champions.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was a little bold. That was a bold statement right there.
It was very bold, but as Kentucky kept moving on, it wasn't so bold. And then they made it to the final game. And then they lost.
Yeah.
Apparently the guy's going to keep it. He has no regrets. Good for him. But still, I know I wouldn't get a tattoo at all. But if I were to, I would not. I'm a big believer in it ain't over till it's over.
Yeah.
Till the fat lady sings. I would never put something permanent on my body, like a tattoo, to signify the championship of a team
that hasn't had
the championship yet. That's crazy to me.
Especially in a tournament like the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
where
you never know what's going to happen.
And they were coming in as an 8 seed. I do have to say Kentucky did really, really well this tournament. They went through a lot of really tough teams. They went through an undefeated Wichita State team.
Right.
They went through Louisville, who a lot of people were saying was
they were my runner-up this year.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying they're the hottest team in the tournament right now. Them and Michigan State. And
they went through Michigan, right?
Yeah, then they went through Michigan,
number 2 seed. They went through both the 1 and 2 seeds.
They went through the 1, 2, and the 4.
Yeah,
and then they went through another 2 seed with Wisconsin.
Right.
To get to the championship, and then they eventually lost to a 7 seed. But
that's unfortunate.
That is a terrific run right there, especially for 5 freshman starters, and without Willie Cauley-Stein for a lot of that. And I think the one player that really sticks out for me on Kentucky is Aaron Harrison, who hit, was it 3 game-winning shots? I think he hit 3 game-winning shots.
Including the one against the buzzer beater against Wisconsin.
He hit the buzzer beater against Wisconsin, he hit the buzzer beater against Michigan, and he hit a very late shot against Louisville to put them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, that's the definition of clutch right there.
Yeah, and for only being 18. Like, that's a huge move to be 18 and hit 3 huge shots like that. Especially, I mean, the Louisville one was, or not the Louisville one, the Michigan one was huge. That was a crazy shot. And then that Wisconsin one in the Final Four, where he caught it like 5 feet from the line and looked at the guy for a second and then pulled up and shot it.
It's crazy. Now, I don't know, has anybody declared for the draft from Kentucky? Is it projected that all of them are going to go into the draft for Kentucky?
I mean, I'm sure most of them are going to go into the draft. Yeah. I don't really know right now. I know most likely Julius Randle is going. I know that for a fact. But
Andrew Wiggins on Kansas, right?
Yeah.
All right, just making sure. Now, you know who's due for a payday? Kevin Ollie.
Yes,
definitely.
Definitely.
He was. It was in class last Wednesday. We were going over the bonuses people are getting for each win and things like that. Of course, Kevin Ollie had the least. This was in the Final Four. The amount of the coaches in the Final Four, they're going over their contracts and bonuses. But you got Kevin Ollie, first tournament coach. He's definitely getting the payday. Whether it's still with UConn or if he does go into the NBA, because I think he still has that NBA mindset.
Yeah, I just can't see him leaving UConn. I mean, he went to UConn. His entire coaching staff is UConn.
Right.
He just won a national championship with UConn. He is losing a few players due to them being seniors, but yeah. I think I don't think he leaves, and he might leave eventually, but I don't think he leaves this year.
All I know is that he'll certainly get a nice bump in pay after this performance in the tournament.
He will definitely get a nice bump in pay.
Now the women's, the UConn women's, they always dominated. Time and time again, they have number 1 picks going to the WNBA.
Yeah.
except for Brittany Griner from Baylor, yeah. But it seems like every year in and year out, they're sending star players to the WNBA. And their coach, Gino Arrieta?
Something like that.
It's
Italian.
Yeah, it's Italian. Like you said, he's what, 8-0
9-0 now.
9-0 now in championship games. So it's something else here. That UConn program
program's insane. You know, it happens every single year with the UConn women's team. It seems like they're undefeated, they're really, really good, and they're going to the national championship. And I mean, this is the first time that two undefeated teams met each other. But I remember a couple years ago when Griner was on Baylor still, or when Notre Dame had Skylar Diggins.
Right.
Both years, both teams would meet in the championship, and it would just be a blowout. That's exactly what happened this year. Two undefeated teams met, and it was a blowout. Of course, Notre Dame was missing their second leading scorer and their leading rebounder, which was definitely a big blow considering UConn was just bigger than them. Like I was watching that game, and they have two big girls inside who just were out rebounding Notre Dame all day long, and so they just kept on getting like second tries, third tries, fourth tries, fifth tries, and then it would go in. So, I mean, that certainly helps when you can keep on shooting at the basket without the other team shooting at the basket.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know my philosophy in picking my brackets, if you can get the rebounds, you're gonna win. If you have multiple people above like 6'8", you're gonna win. That's why I picked Iowa State. Actually,
and then they lost their big man.
And then they lost their big man, which was my problem. But it happens. Sadly, it happened to me. Now I'm looking it up. I don't know how many undefeated seasons.
The women's team has had 4.
Yeah, they've had 4.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
So
I was looking that up.
Season. They were 40-0 this year.
Yeah,
40-0. That's incredible.
And what? Notre Dame was 39-1.
No, they were 36-1.
36-1.
Yeah. I don't know how they played 3 less games, but
I have no idea. Maybe they counted scrimmages, things like that. I have no idea. But no, it was such a unique thing. And you said you watched the game, right?
Yeah, I watched both the games.
It's so unique to have. Honestly, I think this is the first time in NCAA history, not just women's history, that 2 undefeated teams met each other in the championship game. Unless you have something else.
No, I can't think of another time that it happened.
Me either.
I mean, it's certainly the first time in women's, but
yes.
I'm sure it's the first time in men's, too, because I can't
think of 2 men's undefeated teams. Like, you can only think of, like, one certain ones. Like, what was it? UCLA had a few.
UCLA, yeah. They won, 72 straight games?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. That record was beaten by the UConn women's team?
Yeah, of course. But, yeah, they just dominate out there on the floor. You know, again, thus comes up the discussion, does UConn have the best basketball program in the country right now?
I think so. Yeah, if you count both sides of the ball,
yeah, both sides of the ball,
then definitely. They have to.
They have what, 8 combined championships in 15 years?
Is it only 8?
No, it's got to be more with
like
the women's.
13. Yeah, it's like 13.
It's like 13 in the past 15.
Yeah,
which is incredible. That's a great run for UConn.
In the last 4 years, in the last 5 years, they have 6 combined.
Yeah,
which is insane. And 2 of those, the UConn men's team wasn't even in the tournament because they were banned from the tournament.
It's true.
So we don't know what they could have done those years.
I mean, UConn men's played in that championship game was played in North Texas in Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium, and this one was played in Nashville, Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
An interesting fact: UConn, out of the 3 national championships that they've won out of the 3 out of the last 4 that they've won, national champions for the men's team, have been in Texas.
I saw that they were 4-0 in Texas.
Oh, are they 4-0 in Texas? I thought it was 3-0 in Texas.
I mean, it might be including the Final Four.
Maybe that could be it. Could be it. Yeah. But I know that they won AT&T, and they won in like Houston one year, and they won in San Antonio one year. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, Evan's always preaching that Madison Square Garden is UConn's second home. Texas might be their third home.
It could be.
Yeah, definitely. What else? Other top stories?
I mean, Ryan Braun hit 3 home runs last night.
Yeah, Ryan Braun hit 3 home runs. I guess he was complaining about his thumb earlier this year. I guess that's better.
Yeah.
He hit it in Philadelphia, so
yeah,
it's not that hard to hit it out of Philadelphia. I know I can't do it though.
I certainly can't do
So,
it. Sidney Crosby probably could.
Probably.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that video of him taking batting practice at PNC?
No.
Yeah, they a couple years ago they just invited him out to PNC to take batting practice with them, and he just rocketed one 400 feet. I don't know how far it was, but it was really, really far.
Really, 400 feet? Dang.
I don't know about 400, but it was out of center field.
Really?
Yeah. It's not like he
dead
hit it.
Center field.
Yeah, dead center field.
Wow.
Just rocketed it out there.
Yeah, that's over 400 feet.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, breaking news for this morning.
Yeah.
The college basketball from UMass, Derek Gordon, has announced that he's openly gay, and he's the first college basketball player to do such a thing in Division I men's basketball.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, isn't it in all the sports? But you got Michael Sam in football.
Yeah, you got Michael Sam in football. You got Jason Collins.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking just collegiate sports, but...
Yeah, you got Michael Sam. I mean, he didn't play anything after... he announced that he was gay after his college career was done.
Yeah. So this is going to be, the first athlete that's going to play? The first openly gay athlete that's going to play in collegiate sports?
Yeah, I guess so. He's not going to the draft, is he? I haven't heard anything about him, except for today. So, yeah. So we just went over UConn, the 2 NCAA tournaments. The NCAA tournament sweeps. Second time in, 4 years that happened for UConn?
That they swept it?
Yeah.
10th anniversary this year.
Oh, 10th anniversary. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just they have so many stats that we just went over. Sometimes I, misinterpret.
I know they kind of start swirling around.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's still fairly early in the morning.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, so next segment, it was NHL. But let's just go into MLB next segment. I have a few questions for Atticus and
I like it.
For you fans out there concerning Hank Aaron. So don't go away. You can call us in next segment, and I'll tell you that information in a little bit. So don't go anywhere. This is the Sports Stop on WSJU Radio, the voice of St. John's University.
Welcome back to the Sports Stop.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to the Sports Stop here on WSJU Radio. I am James Mitchell. Alongside me is Atticus George-Andrijeski.
Boom.
I got it. It's 11:31 here on April 9th. Beautiful day today.
It is an amazing day outside. Yeah.
Spring is
Spring's coming
here.
around. Yeah. I'm excited for spring.
Oh yeah, definitely. Me too. I was just so sick of the winter, but now we look outside. I don't see a cloud out there. Unless that's just one big cloud out there on the horizon. I can't tell if that's blue or white.
Yeah, it's a little tricky to tell from this window.
Yeah.
But yesterday there was barely any clouds out. I went and walked to the store yesterday. Me and a friend walked to the store, hung out along... What is that? I'm completely forgetting the name of that road. The road out there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it Utopia?
Yeah, I know.
Or is it Union?
Union, I think.
Turnpike?
Union Turnpike, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, I believe that's what we were hanging out on.
Yeah,
Just, hitting a bunch of different stores.
Oh, yeah, definitely Union Turnpike here at St. John's University. Did you go into 7-Eleven, get yourself a Slurpee?
Nah, we went to walked to Rite Aid. One of my roommates needed some baby wipes, so
I'm not gonna ask.
We got some baby wipes for him. And then we just grabbed some other stuff, like some soap and a little bit of food, whatnot. And then we just, we walked back, hit the dollar store. Yeah. It was a good day, though. It was a really nice day out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I went out there and, a T-shirt and a light flannel, and I had the flannel rolled up.
Yeah.
Sleeves rolled up. It was gorgeous out there, and, it's supposed to just get better and better. Maybe a little rain here and there, but no matter. But that's all right.
Yeah.
We're going to get into baseball now. You can call in with your thoughts at 718-990-3SJU. That's 718-990-3758. Or you can tweet at us at SportsStop WSJU. Yesterday was the 40th anniversary of Hank Aaron breaking Babe Ruth's all-time home run record. It was, of course, 715. He hit number 715.
Yeah.
40 years ago last night against the Dodgers, against Al Downing. So, there's a little fun fact for you. But that brings up the discussion, because yesterday it was the Braves home opener. I was watching that because the Mets are playing. And they won, by the way, in case you were wondering. But they had a nice ceremony for Hank Aaron last night before the game. And Bud Selig, the announcer announced Hank Aaron as the quote-unquote true home run king. So, thus brings up the question, is Hank Aaron, in your eyes, the true home run king? Or is it Barry Bonds, of course?
That's such a tough question. Because obviously Barry Bonds juiced. He only has 7 more home runs than Hank Aaron does. And that's with steroids. But you also got to, Barry Bonds was a great hitter. He was an amazing, amazing hitter before steroids. And he was still a 30-30 player every year. He would hit at least 30 home runs, I think even 40 home runs some years, and 30 steals. And then you really started to see him bulk up. And that's when he started hitting
definitely.
like 70 home runs and only getting like 15 steals a year. So I think the big question here is the steroids. Because at the time steroids weren't illegal in the MLB. And sure they were looked down upon and a little bit frowned, but they weren't illegal. Nobody came out and said you can't do this in baseball. So it's really hard to say. But I like Hank Aaron much better than I like Barry Bonds, and I'd like to think that he is the true home run king.
I would like to think that too. Of course, Hank Aaron, not only did he not use performance-enhancing drugs, as in the steroid kinds, but also, he was just a nicer, classier guy than Barry Bonds.
Yeah.
It even just goes to show Al Downing, who gave up his home run, was at the ceremony last night. Now, who wants to be remembered for giving up one of the biggest home runs in history? For giving it up.
That's a pretty big thing though, to be like, I gave up the record break. I gave up the home run that broke Babe Ruth's record.
You could say that, but you could also, if you were that proud, why don't you just lob it in there? That is true, yeah. Exactly. So, you don't do it on purpose, but, he was proud, and he was also very happy to be a part of that momentous occasion with the classy Hank Aaron, who, just changed the game of baseball altogether. Of course, it was racially segregated times have just passed. This was in the early 70s. It was 74, again, 40 years ago. It happened in Atlanta, Georgia. It happened in the South.
Yeah.
So, the hate mail was going around to Aaron and his family. But, he powered through, and he hit the big home run and hit, 40 more after 715? 755 he ended with? Yep. So,
bringing up the racially segregated and whatnot, I would like to bring up Josh Gibson.
Yes.
Back from the early 20th century.
Rumors are that he hit over 800 home runs.
Yeah.
In his Negro League career.
Now that's it's a little bit.
It's fuzzy.
It's fuzzy because the games weren't as big. They didn't keep as many stats. A lot of the games were exhibition games, but
barnstorming.
Yeah, but they did play. His team did play MLB teams in exhibition games.
Yeah.
Before the season. After the season, whatever. They played some exhibition games. And they compared those stats to the stats of Babe Ruth. And, of course, Josh Gibson had less home runs because he didn't play as many games against that talent. But they did compare the rate at which he hits home runs, and it was very, very similar to Babe Ruth's rate.
Oh, yeah,
of
definitely.
hitting home runs.
A lot of people have said that Josh Gibson was better than Babe Ruth.
Yeah, apparently back then, some people who saw both of them play would call Babe Ruth the white Josh Gibson.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, baseball has a rich history. Maybe segregation isn't as rich, but, there is that history of greatness in the Negro Leagues. And, of course, that led to Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier, which also led to more and more players breaking the color barrier and more African-American players breaking records, like Hank Aaron's broken record to Babe Ruth. And Hank Aaron, he never hit more than 43 home runs in a season.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think he hit... he played what? It says here 23 years.
23 years, yeah. So if he hit 40 a year, that's over 800.
Right.
That's over 900, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So he did not play. He did not hit. He only hit 43 once. The rest, he probably had like 30, 35. Without his home runs, he'd still have over 3,000 hits.
Wow.
He'd still be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But he was just he might have been the greatest baseball player of all time, arguably. But he's very under the radar still.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. But, Bud Selig, the commissioner for the MLB, always is behind Hank Aaron 110%. Always, like I said last night, he said that he was the true home run king. And, that's sort of shots fired.
It's definitely shots fired. That's really crazy to me that he only hit 43 home runs in a year. Because you look at Barry Bonds, when Barry Bonds was... you definitely knew that he was juicing. He was hitting 70 or so home runs a year, which is absolutely insane. It's a lot of home runs. And on top of that, if you subtract all of his home runs to still have 3,000 hits, that's incredible. He has... In my mind, he is the home run king. And then looking at the home run list right here, you got obviously Barry Bonds at 1, Hank Aaron, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, A-Rod. You have A-Rod at 5th right now, who is still in the league. He's at 654 home runs. He's only 6 behind Willie Mays. If he hits 6 home runs in the next couple of years, which I can totally see A-Rod doing, he has been definitely tailing off in the last few years, but he only needs 6 home runs to tie Willie Mays for 4th all time, which is very interesting. He's another obvious steroid case. That brings up questions once again. Right behind him, though, we have Ken Griffey with 630, and that's one of the saddest stories for me coming from Seattle in all of baseball, because Ken Griffey has 630 home runs. He's only 130 behind Barry Bonds right now. He's only even 24 behind A-Rod right now. But he spent a lot of his career injured, injury prone, a lot of it injured, and so he really didn't have a chance to catch those people, which is very unfortunate for me, especially being a huge Seattle fan and him playing in Seattle for a lot of his career. I'm a little disappointed that he couldn't get higher on that list.
Oh yeah, especially since he did it. It was obvious that he did it clean.
Yeah.
He had 630 home runs with the Seattle Mariners, the Cincinnati Reds. He did have a spell with the Chicago White Sox at one point for maybe a half a year. But he just had that. When you think of a perfect swing, you see Ken Griffey Jr. swing. He had that fluid swing that could just naturally hit the ball over the right field wall each and every time. Who else? Here's the top 5. You got Bonds, Aaron, Ruth, Mays, of course, Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah.
He rounds out the top 5. He could... he's only 6 away from Willie Mays.
Yeah.
So, and we all know what's going on with A-Rod. Caught multiple times with steroids. And then to round out the top 10, you got Griffey, Jim Thome, Sammy Sosa, Frank Robinson, Mark McGwire. So you got 4 guys out of the top 10.
Is it 4? Let's see. Barry Bonds,
A-Rod, Sosa, and McGwire.
Sosa, I forgot Sosa and McGwire. Yeah.
So they're known steroid users. There's always reports. You never know, what Jim Thome did. However, I think he did it cleanly. Of course, Ken Griffey Jr. See, it's a shame because it's just they played in the time period.
Yeah.
So
They
they're
certainly did.
sort of guilty by association, which isn't fair. I mean, you just got Jeff Bagwell still waiting to get into the Hall of Fame because he bulked up from minor leagues to playing with the Astros in the pros. You got Mike Piazza, the same thing. He was drafted, 62nd round? And that was because of, a family friend of Tommy Lasorda. He was a family friend of Tommy Lasorda, so, the Dodgers, he's had the Dodgers say, give him a shot, and he becomes the best home run hitting catcher of all time. And, he still has that cloud of steroids over him. Oh, my God, how can somebody like that, drafted so late, barely even drafted at all, come in and get all these home runs? Now, I don't know who did it and who didn't, but, I mean, when you don't have any proof, you're automatically guilty of
I mean, we do talk about guilty of association because of the time.
Yes.
But you got to look at Griffey too. I mean, Griffey was prime in that era there, and he's clean. I mean, as far as we can tell, he's clean.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Palmeiro was there too. Clemens, pitchers did it. Again, it's a dark spot on baseball, but I mean, it's still good to see everybody celebrating Hank Aaron. Of course, we went over his 40th year anniversary, and I mean, people know when Hank Aaron broke it. Do people know when Barry Bonds broke Aaron's record? I mean, are people going to remember that date?
Probably not, because his legacy was already tainted at that point. Everybody already knew that he was doing steroids before he even broke the record. Right.
So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, even like 10 years, maybe not 10 years from now, but 10 years after Bonds' home run, are they going to celebrate it? I
do actually remember when he broke that record, though.
I remember it was September. I want to say it was like early 20s in September, like the 20th, 21st.
Yeah.
It was against the Nationals.
I don't remember who it was against. It was at home, though.
Yes, it was
I know
at
it was
home.
in San Francisco.
Yes.
And they had, because usually they have kayakers out in the bay.
Yeah.
Like waiting for balls. There was like hundreds of kayakers out there waiting for that ball to fly out there. And it landed in the stands. And just like 20 people dove on top of it.
Imagine the worst mosh pit at a concert that you've been to and times that by like 20. And that's the scene that you saw fighting for that home run ball from Barry Bonds. It was incredible.
The dude who got it, too, sold it immediately after.
Yeah,
he just posted it on eBay right that night or something like that.
I mean, here's another question. This wasn't written down, but if you did catch a home run ball like that, a wet record breaker, would you sell it, give it back to the hitter, or give it to the Hall of Fame? Of course,
that's a really tough decision.
See, if you give it to the Hall of Fame, I doubt you'll get any sort of compensation.
Yeah,
maybe like a free pass or two to Cooperstown.
Yeah,
but I don't see them doing anything. If you give it back to Bonds, he'll probably give you like a signed bat or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if you sell it, you can sell it for however much you want. I mean,
It's much smarter to sell it.
Yes.
But I mean, is it the right thing? So I have a friend who caught a ball in Chicago. I mean, it's certainly not anywhere near Barry Bonds' home run.
You were telling me, wasn't
ball.
it like Jermaine Dye's 300th home run?
It was Bobby Abreu's 250th.
Bobby Abreu's 250.
So I mean, like a third of the home runs that Barry Bonds hit. But it's still a big deal. 250 home runs. My friend caught it in Chicago, and everybody was yelling at him to throw it back because obviously Abreu was on the Angels at that point. It was in Chicago. Everybody was yelling for him to throw it back, and he was like, "No, I'm going to keep it." And within a few minutes, some security guards or some officials of the team or whatever came up to him and were like, Bobby Abreu would like to have his 250th home run ball back.
By the way, current Met Bobby Abreu.
Yeah.
Or should I say current Las Vegas 51 Bobby Abreu.
Exactly.
He's in the AAA system right now.
And they're like, what do you want for it? And my friend had no idea. He'd never really thought about this before and was like, what can I ask for? So he was like, I don't know. He can have his ball if he wants. And they're like, how about an Angel signed ball and an Abreu signed ball? He was like, sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he got two signed balls, which is nice. And, I mean, it's not like he could sell Bobby Abreu's 250th home run ball for $100,000 or anything.
I have Cal Ripken Jr.'s sweat towel from his Hall of Fame induction.
That's pretty crazy.
So,
how'd you get that?
I was there. My friend's dad works for a local news station, but like he's kind of a freelance videographer. So I think he was working with the Associated Press that day, and so when I went with him and his friend. This was back in 2007, so I was 14. So we went with him to Cooperstown. Of course, that was him and Tony Gwynn. It seemed like all of Baltimore and San Diego was there. It was packed. That was up until I'm predicting this year, because currently that's the record for most amount of people at a induction ceremony. And it was hot too. So you got Tony Gwynn sweating like a pig, and you got Cal Ripken Jr. I mean, Tony Gwynn smelled worse because he sweat more. That's how I know that I had Cal Ripken Jr.'s and my friend had Tony Gwynn's. So, I mean, they left the towels at the press conference. And so, my friend's dad's, picking up his stuff and things like that. And he sees that, there's like water bottles and towels on the stage. And everybody's gone. So he just goes up there and picks them up. So, and then he gave a towel to me. And he gave a water bottle used by Cal Ripken Jr. and a towel to my friend, his son. So,
that's pretty awesome.
His son's towel smelled worse, so we determined that was Tony Gwynn's.
It's pretty awesome and really funny, but like that's kind of disgusting at the same time. Like it's a sweat now, especially for a really hot day where you know he's just sweating and just wiping it off, and it was soaked at the end of that press conference.
Definitely, yeah. But it's something else. It's unique.
It's pretty awesome, actually.
All right, let's get out of the past. Let's go into the present right now. Puig was late to the Dodgers home opener, and he was benched.
Yep. I like it.
I mean,
I like the move.
I like the move, too. But, I mean, this kid, of course, he is just a kid. He's, he has a sort of a history already with kind of goofing off and things like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I did seem sincere that he thought he was supposed to arrive at 10 in the morning or something like that, and he was supposed to arrive at 9:30, so he was late. And he honestly seemed sincere and apologetic about it. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe he was, goofing off again. So, I mean.
Yeah. And, I mean, I understand. If you're late, you're late. He deserves to be benched. And for a fact because of that, he probably won't be late again. He'll make sure he knows what time to actually be there. And he won't show up late again. Hopefully, at least. That's what I'd like to think. Yeah,
definitely. So they benched him. That was Kemp's first day off the DL. And so they put Kemp in. And now, they still have that logjam in the outfield with Kemp, Ethier, Puig, and Carl Crawford. They're not going to bench Puig. We know that. He's, a young superstar. After what Kemp did this weekend, he had 2 home runs this weekend. So, I mean, we'll get into that maybe next segment. This is kind of running long, but it's all right. Because we're not big into hockey as much as Evan and Andrew.
No, so they're generally the hockey talkers.
Yes, definitely.
On this show.
So I mean, we'll see. We'll probably move into baseball next segment too. So hopefully you enjoy America's pastime. But I mean, do you see them trading Ethier or Carl Crawford? Who would you bench?
Who would I bench?
Yeah,
out of Ethier and Carl Crawford.
Well,
out of all 4.
Or out of all 4, but I'm assuming it's going to be either Ethier or Crawford.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be between those two, at least right now, as of right now, what the other two are doing. I mean,
honestly, I'd probably bench Crawford.
That's what I was kind of leaning towards, but
Crawford has that speed aspect.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm looking at. He will get you stolen bases.
I mean, people are always saying, "Oh, that's a good problem to have, having too many outfielders." I mean, it is, yeah. But what if you have a guy that's like, "Oh man, I should be starting," and he's just a downer in the clubhouse?
Yeah,
then
you don't want that.
Then he's got an attitude problem. His reputation's busted pretty much. You trade him, and if his attitude's busted, you're not going to get as much value for him as if he was, just a team player. Honestly, I see Ethier being traded. I think they have to do it. But, I mean, you never know.
I mean, what are the Dodgers missing? What do the Dodgers need?
All right. Well, honestly, I think their pitching's pretty good. They only have Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke and Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Yeah, I mean that's a decent pitching staff.
That's okay
if you really think about it.
That's okay. We all know that their outfield's set, their catcher actually just went down with knee surgery, A.J. Ellis. So maybe they can go for a catcher. I mean, Ellis isn't, a young buck anymore. They have Gonzalez at first. You got Juan Uribe at third, who's actually a pretty solid player. Not going to lie. And you got D. Gordon, who's...
They have Sean Figgins as their backup third baseman.
Yeah, Sean Figgins.
I remember when the Mariners traded for him, and he did awful.
He did do really badly.
Absolutely awful.
He was a star in
L.A.
Los Angeles, yeah.
Or Anaheim.
Back then it was just Anaheim.
And he was killing it, and so I was like, yeah, because I used to be a Sean Figgins fan back when he was in Anaheim.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I was like, yeah, the Mariners got him, this is going to be great. And he was the leadoff man, and he was just awful. Absolutely awful.
Yeah, he wasn't pretty there. We'll talk more about the Dodgers and other MLB news starting at the 12 o'clock hour. But right now we're going to go to commercial. And, hopefully you stick around. Get some lunch. It's 11:54. Get some lunch. Be sure you're back here by 12 when we start up our next segment, all right? So stay tuned to the SportsStop here on WSJU Radio, the voice of St. John's University.
Welcome back to the SportsStop. James? Atticus? Yeah. Evan?
Okay. All right, fellas. Let's go! In the mall at the back said everyone attack and they turn it to a ballroom blitz. And the girl in the corner said, boy, I wanna want you to turn it to a ballroom blitz. Ballroom blitz.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is the noon hour here on the SportsStop here on WSJU Radio. We are without Evan McGuire and Andrew Calvano today. Evan, of course, is at home, and Andrew is working on a paper. School comes first. So it's just Atticus and I today. So if you want to come up visit, you can. I'm not stopping you. The station's always open, except for when nobody's in here. Then it's closed. Or you can call in at 718-990-3SJU. That's 718-990-3758. And, call in with your thoughts on our sports. We're talking about MLB right now. Talked about Hank Aaron. We're talking about the Dodgers situation and other news going around the MLB. Or you can tweet at us at SportsStopWSJU. So, let's continue our MLB talk. We were just talking about the Dodgers, what they should do with Ethier or whatever, with their outfield logjam. So, I think I see them trading him. I think, the rumors have just been around for, honestly, a year, 2 years already. And, I'm sorry. And so, this could be the year they trade him, if Matt Kemp proves that he's healthy, of course. Guy, the past, 2 or 3 years, the guy seems like he's made out of paper mache.
Yeah.
Certainly.
It could be beneficial to hold on to him because you never really know when Matt Kemp is going to go down.
Oh yeah, or even Carl Crawford. He's not a young buck anymore.
Yeah. So
he's just actually coming off of Tommy John surgery from last season.
Wow.
He had Tommy John surgery in his left elbow. Not that he didn't have a strong arm in the first place, but
yeah,
whatever. Maybe they put something in there to make him somewhat bionic. That'd be cool.
It's always good to have an extra player, an extra good player, if one of yours does go down when you do have injury-prone players. But, we did mention before, morale of the club, morale of the player, and whatnot. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Dodgers do.
Yeah, and so far, nothing's come up about that. But, there's always that possibility.
Yeah.
Let's stay on the West Coast here. How about Brandon Belt?
Brandon Belt is doing great.
The guy's got 5 home runs already in the first 8 games.
I have him on my fantasy team, and I am loving it.
I reluctantly picked him in one of my fantasy leagues. He just fell so far, I was like, oh my God, fine, I'll take Brandon Belt. And you know what? I'm very happy that he fell so far.
Yeah, I think I took him with one of my last picks because I needed something.
Yeah.
I needed something, and I was like, going for Brandon Belt. We got him, and he's been tearing it up lately.
Yeah, 5 home runs in the first 8 games. Only Willie Mays has had more in the Giants franchise. In their first 8 games, only Willie Mays has had 6. There's been a few guys with 5, including Barry Bonds. But, I mean, he didn't hit 5 home runs until the end of May last season.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's really crazy.
It's impressive. I mean, of course, he came up, 2 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago in September. And, they're really excited about him coming up. He's one of their big prospects. He's a lefty, so he can hit it into the bay. And, he's hit 5 so far this year. It's only time will tell if he can keep that up or not, but I'm liking it so far.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have him on one of my fantasy leagues. I'm thinking about trading him.
Really? I mean, now
I can get so much value.
Now would be the time for it because he's really, really hitting well right now. You can get some value out of it and hope that he just drops out.
I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 weeks, maybe like the first week in May. If he kind of died down a little bit, just a little bit though. If he kind of died down, then I'll look into trading him. But like if by then he's got 10 home runs, I'm keeping him. I don't care. I'm keeping him.
Yeah.
He could bottom out the second half of the year. Actually, no, I don't want that. I don't know. But that's my general manager standpoint for my fantasy leagues. Of course, this isn't one I'm in with Evan because I would definitely not tell him my secrets. Not that he's here, but he could be listening. I hope. If not, it's going to be on YouTube later this week. So check that out, fans. If you missed anything, we'll put it on our Facebook when we do it.
Can we keep it on the West Coast for a little bit longer?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Mariners.
The Mariners, oh my God.
The number 1 team in the AL right now. They have the best record in the AL league.
Okay.
Or in the AL, I should say.
They have, Felix Hernandez pitched really well the other day. Was 8 1/3? He couldn't get the complete game.
He couldn't get it all the way. He allowed a home. He was 8 1/3 scoreless. Allowed a home run, and they pulled him.
Yeah. So of course you know what you're going to get almost perfection almost every time he goes out there.
Yeah.
You also have Robinson Cano. How's he doing his first week as a Mariner?
He's doing pretty good, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, he's getting on base a lot, obviously, because sometimes they're pitching around him.
To get to Justin Smoak, who's actually...
He's been tearing it up lately.
Yeah, he's proving that he could be really good protection for Cano.
Yeah, I mean, I think it really, really helps Justin Smoak to have somebody like Robinson Cano in front of him. If you're hitting right behind a potential Hall of Fame player, you're going to hit a lot better, especially when Robinson Cano keeps on getting on base. Yeah,
definitely.
Because, I mean, before he was trying to do it, I think Justin Smoak was trying to do a lot of it himself. He was trying to, hit all these home runs all the time.
I mean, he is that big kid who's projected to get, 35 home runs out of the minor leagues, and that's what they were expecting from him. Didn't quite get that, but, he might get it this year.
Yeah,
he's doing great this year so far.
Yeah, Corey Hart even hit 2 home runs last night.
Corey Hart hit 2 home runs last night.
That was crazy.
A lot of people hit 2 home runs yesterday.
Yeah.
Multiple home runs because you got Brian Braun hitting 3 in Philadelphia. Avisail Garcia and Jose Abreu of the White Sox each hit 2 home runs.
Yeah.
Matt Kemp hit 2 home runs along with Hanley Ramirez the other day. I think it was Sunday night against the Giants. So, yeah, it's good to see.
I'm back to Cano real quick. I'm really excited for Cano. I'm really, really excited for Cano. Just watching him for this first 7 games so far. I've really, really enjoyed him. He's been playing his heart out there. It's been really fun to watch. He's got
the heart of a champion.
I think it was Sunday. Yeah, I think it was Sunday's game. He hit a little blooper in the center field, right? And was kind of jogging to first because he knew he could get to first,
That's expected of Robinson Cano.
Yeah.
I should say.
But the center fielder took his time to get the ball.
Yeah.
And he took off. Just instantly took off. Second. Easy.
It's those hustle doubles.
Easy double, which was really, really cool to see. Because, I mean, nobody on the Mariners does that anymore.
Of course not. No.
Everybody, they hit it in the blooper in the center. They'll take one. But Robinson Cano was smart enough and he's experienced enough to know what he was doing and to take off and get to second. And then right after that was a wild pitch, so he advanced to third. Next pitch, a single. And he
Scored.
was home. Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, that just goes to show you, what experience could do. Of course, playing behind Derek Jeter probably helped him a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he does seem like a kid who's, nonchalant, likes to, oh, I got a hit, let me just, look good and jog to first base.
First place in the AL as well.
Yes. So, I mean, I think he learned a lot from the captain, Jeter. And now he's the guy in Seattle.
Yeah.
So hopefully he brings that leadership that he learned from Jeter to Seattle.
Seattle's also...
They have a young pitching staff.
They have a very young pitching staff. They got James Paxton, who pitched last night, who I know we both have on our fantasy team.
Yes, he got hurt, though.
He did. Hopefully it's not too bad.
Yeah, what was it again?
He, strained a lat or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as long as it's not his pitching arm, that's all right.
Yeah.
Because you got all these guys going down with Tommy John.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. But James Paxton, when's Iwakuma coming back? I know he's still on the DL.
Yeah, I don't really know.
I think
have
he
no
was
idea.
just... I think it was announced that he's going to start his rehab assignment either next week.
It says return to Iwakuma not far off.
Yeah. So,
it says he's ready to take his rehab process.
See,
so.
there you go. So you got him. But who are their other pitchers? I mean, I really don't.
I mean,
We went over
nothing...
them in this in our previews, but there's nothing really to write home about.
No, I mean, part of it is that they do have some young pitchers.
Yeah.
Which we don't like.
Which
for
you don't
instance,
really
James
know about.
Paxton.
Right.
James Paxton only started, I think, 3 games last season, and he pitched amazingly those 3 games.
Yep.
But you don't really know that much about him. So you got Felix at 1.
Erasmo Ramirez,
who hasn't pitched great so far this year. He's pitched decently, but not great.
you got Paxton.
You got Paxton, who's pitched really well, actually.
Then Roenis Elias.
Yeah, he's
Elias?
young. He's young.
Speaking of young, you got Chris Young.
Yeah, and then Chris
Former
Young.
Met great.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. No, I'm really looking forward to Iwakuma coming back.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's going to be great. That's going to be a great 1-2 punch, and hopefully Paxton
Follow suit.
really comes out. So far, Roenis Elias this year has a 1.8 ERA with 3 strikeouts and a 1.0 whip. So, I mean, not bad. He pitched 5 innings the other day against the Angels.
All right, how about my boy? How about my guy, Yordano Ventura? Last night went 6 innings in his first start against the Rays.
Yeah.
Matched zeros with Chris Archer. He went 6 innings. Ventura went 6 innings, gave up 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, and that's it. His whip was .33.
That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, first start of the season?
Yeah.
I'm liking him. I'll tell you, I like him a lot. My Rookie of the Year pick. I have him in 5 out of my 6 fantasy teams. Always got him with the second to last pick. Except for my 12-team league. I had to make sure I got him. Because, of course, 12-team league. And also, I know the people in that 12-team league. And they take pride in stealing people. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
And, of course, going on another pitching tangent, Masahiro Tanaka is making his first start in Yankee Stadium tonight. Last week, like we said in the news, that he faced the Blue Jays, gave up a leadoff home run, gave up 3 runs in the first 2 innings, 2 earned, and but the thing that really impressed everybody was that he settled down, and the Yankees got him the win. That game was won 7-3. Tanaka got the W, and he struck out 8 Blue Jays. And the big thing is that, he settled down. So it's going to be interesting to see how amped he is in his first start here at home in New York, in the Bronx, in those pinstripes.
Yeah.
Of course, Yankees lost big time yesterday, 14-5 against the Orioles. This is the rubber game today. So, I mean, not only is everybody wondering how Tanaka's going to do, but they're also wondering who's going to win this early AL East series against the Orioles. So, did you watch Tanaka at all last week?
Did I watch the start?
Tanaka, yeah.
No. When did he pitch? What day did he pitch on?
I want to say it was Wednesday night.
Was it? Or was that Nova?
Wait. I believe it was Friday, actually.
It was
Because
Friday?
I was at the Mets game. And
I don't remember, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I don't remember why.
he, like we said, he gave up a leadoff home run to Melky Cabrera, who's also raking. He had a home run in 4 straight games, I think.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Melky, right? So he gave up a leadoff home run. Gave up another run or two. And then the Yankees fought back and got him the lead, and he just kept it. Everybody's excited to see what this kid can do. Of course, he got the ace money. And, CC, he's not really looking like an ace anymore.
CC, no. He's really not. I mean, he's been slowly slipping.
Definitely. So they're looking for that ace right now. A lot of people would say it's Kuroda right now.
Kuroda has been really good for the past couple of years. I know,
definitely. He's Mr. Consistent in that lineup.
Yeah,
in that rotation.
He's not really that star of the team. He's not like that big name pitcher that you think about when you think about like Kershaw or Scherzer or Verlander. He's not a huge name pitcher. At least for me, because, I've been on the West Coast.
Right.
He might be bigger out here.
Well, he's the only... Honestly, last year, he was the only good pitcher the Yankees had.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He was a very, very solid, good pitcher. But he's not that ace. Like, nobody considers him that ace.
Right. You know what you're going to get from Kuroda.
Yeah.
You're going to get...
That's why I love having him on my fantasy team.
Yeah, you're going to get like a 3.4 ERA, maybe even less. Mm-hmm. Probably 16 wins. So you know what you're going to get from him. But Tanaka, he's getting that ace money. He's 25 years old. He pitched a lot of innings in Japan. So, it's also interesting to see how that's going to work out for him. But
so you got to look at Kuroda's 39 now.
Yeah, I was about to say, Kuroda's 39. He's not going to be the ace for years to come. No. So the Yankees are looking for an ace, and they're hoping Tanaka can do that.
Yeah. This year, Kuroda's got a 2.92 ERA. He's only pitched 2 games, but 2.92 ERA. But he's consistently low 3.
Yeah.
Low 3 ERA.
Past 3 years, he had a 3.07 ERA, then a 3.32, then a 3.31.
Before that, he had 3.39, too. So the last 4 years, he's been under the 3.4.
Yeah. So you know what you're going to get from him.
Yeah.
So it's Kuroda. He's just solid. There's nothing else you can say. If there's one word to describe Kuroda, it's solid.
Very, very solid. I'd like to go back to Justin Smoke one last time.
Okay.
Because you were talking about Justin Smoke, and we were talking about Cano in front of him and how Justin Smoke's really been lighting it up lately. He's actually the third leading RBI getter in the league. He's got 9 RBIs right now.
All right, and of course, Jose Abreu has 11, and also Chris Colabello, I believe, of the Twins. Yeah, of the Twins.
But my favorite stat about Smoke is he's got 9 hits, exactly 9 RBIs.
And how many home runs? He's got 2.
He's got 2. Yeah.
And 3 doubles.
Yeah.
So he's raking right now.
He is actually. He's actually got a better slugging percentage than anybody in the top 5. Torrey Hunter has a better slugging percentage than him, which is a little crazy. But
again, it's early in the year. It's only a week. A lot of numbers are inflated and a lot of numbers are deflated.
Yeah.
Gio Gonzalez hit a home run before
on Bartolo Colon.
Yeah, off of Bartolo Colon last Wednesday. You were there, Atticus.
I was at that game. Yeah.
And he hit a home run before Miguel Cabrera, before I believe Yasiel Puig. This is the second game of the year.
Yeah.
So
I was telling you earlier. I'll tell the listeners right now, but he went up to bat. Cologne threw a pitch, and he didn't really try. So I was like, it's going to be an easy out. He's not going to do anything. It's a pitcher. Like, what's going to happen? So I turned to my friend who I was at the game with, turned away from the field, started talking to him, and I just heard the crack of the bat, and I looked up, and the ball was just soaring, and it was just gone.
Yeah.
Absolutely gone. Although, to be fair, it did hit the wall, and they called it a home run. We all wanted it reviewed, and they didn't review it.
It was a home run.
It was a home run? Could you see it on TV?
Yes, it was a home run.
Because from where I was sitting, it was hard to see if it actually hit the line or not.
I think because Citi Field, they have that they moved the walls in. Now they have that Party City porch or whatever.
Yeah.
That fans stand on. And they have a railing up above the orange line. It hit the railing.
Oh, it did? Okay.
Yeah,
I know that it bounced straight back. It didn't bounce up. It bounced straight back out. And so it was a little hard to see where it hit on that fence.
Right. So, I mean, Still. Oh, little thing about Gio Gonzalez. It was the second year in a row he hit a home run in his second at-bat of the season. Both happening in the 5th inning.
That's a pretty weird and
Right?
coincidental stat.
Right? Both second games of the season, because, of course, Strasburg pitches opening day.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's... Next year, if you face Gio Gonzalez in that second game of the year, in his first start, watch out that second at-bat. Because he's got a pattern right now.
Yeah. that was a fun game because Bartolo Colon came up for his first at-bat.
Oh, my God.
And,
I was watching the game last night he pitched. He pitched well, but him bunting...
Yeah, he was trying to bunt
bad.
on Wednesday too, which was awful. But his first at bat, he just stood there with his bat on his shoulder for the first pitch, just let it go by, and we're like, okay, he's not gonna swing, he's not even gonna try. And then the second pitch, he has the bat resting on his shoulder, and he just steps through it and just hits it, shatters his bat, and it just dribbles to the second baseman, and you can just see him slowly jogging to first base and just laughing the entire time.
Yeah, the guy is so relaxed, and he's laughing at himself.
Yeah.
And you got to respect that. Last night but he pitched a gem. He pitched 7 shutout innings against the Braves.
He pitched great last night. Yeah.
But between batters, he'd get the ball back from the catcher, he'd throw it up in the air, he'd catch it, while he was trying to bunt, the second time after, he couldn't bunt off of Aaron Harang, who, let's face it, he's pretty much almost like batting practice, Aaron Harang is. He couldn't bunt off of him. So then they bring in a reliever, and he has to face a reliever who's got some sort of herky-jerky motion. And he tried to bunt off of him, and he completely missed the first one. And then, he steps out of the batter's box, he, looks in the dugout where his third base coach, and he starts laughing hysterically. And, the third baseman, Chris Johnson, for the Braves, he was laughing in his glove. It was just so funny. The only one who was serious was the pitcher. However, he eventually got that bunt down.
Wow.
Yeah, he got the bunt down, and it was a successful sacrifice, his 7th of his career.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like Bartolo. I mean, I'm a Mets fan.
Yeah.
Because, I'm a Mariners fan in the AL. Of course, my hometown team. But you always got to like a team in the NL, too.
Yes.
So
I like the Orioles in the AL.
Yeah. So I like the Mets. I mean, I like the Pirates, too, but not to the same level that I like the Mets. So I always enjoy watching the Mets. And it's fun having Bartolo Colon. I mean, he's what, 41 now? Still out there, still pitching.
He's turning 41 in May.
Yeah, when I went and saw
he
that
was
game,
alive when Hank Aaron hit that home run 40 years ago.
That's
Think
pretty
about
crazy.
that.
Yeah. When I went and saw him the other night, I mean, he still threw 110 pitches or something like that.
Yeah.
It was
Last night he
pretty
threw
crazy.
101.
Yeah, he's just a workhorse out there.
He is.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's gonna die. When he walked out for the bullpen, I was like, "Oh God,
my God.
don't die on the mound. Please don't die on the mound."
It says the camera adds 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, in his case, it might, flatter him 10 pounds. It might be, he might look better on camera. I can't wait to go to a game and he pitches.
Yeah.
I gotta get myself to a game where he's
You
pitching.
do, because they show his photo up on the big screen, up on Mets, and it's hilarious. He's just making a funny face on it. It's like perfect Bartolo Colon moment.
Yeah, he's a character. You think we're done with the MLB? A lot of news in the MLB.
There's a lot of news. We just talked pretty much an hour.
We talked
straight
an hour straight of the MLB,
of MLB,
which
I'm
is,
sure people
I'm
are
never
a little-
complaining about.
Yeah, I mean, but we're a week in. I mean, this is really the first day that we've had MLB stuff to talk about.
That's true, yeah.
Because last week it was the second day, essentially, the third day of that.
There was
MLB.
each team only played 1 or 2 games. Besides the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers, they were in Australia late in March. But again, this was the first day of a full week of MLB, and seeing some weird things like Brandon Belton 5 home runs.
Yeah,
and
the Mariners leading the AL.
Yeah,
Huh.
It's just odd. You never know.
That's why you always got to love the beginning of a baseball season.
Yeah.
Things happen that you would never expect.
I mean, look, the baseball season's long, and eventually things will go into place.
Yeah, definitely.
Eventually
the
Miguel
Mariners
Cabrera is gonna hit over 300.
Yeah.
He's gonna get maybe a 10-game hitting streak, and he's gonna get back to where Miguel Cabrera numbers. But right now, he's not there.
Yeah.
But so it's weird.
Eventually, the Mariners will win the AL West too. Everything will just work out.
See, that's a weird thing. You have them second, right?
I had them second, but right now I have them first.
Because right now they are in first.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It was unfortunate. They just played a series against the A's, who are second in the AL West right now. And they went 1-2 against them. But against the Angels so far, they're 4-0.
Oh, see, that's good.
Yeah.
Not that the Angels are
Great.
very good.
But the Mariners have scored the most runs in the AL. Maybe even the whole league, but I know the AL.
I mean, take a look at the Marlins stats, though. Marlins are killing it right now. Hang on, we're gonna get that up real quick, like.
The computer's thinking.
Yeah, the computer's thinking. All right,
Let's
so
see. The Mariners have 39. Oh, wow. The Twins have more runs with 41.
the Twins have more runs
who are
scored.
3 and 4,
Oh,
last in the Central.
See, that's the problem with their pitching. That's what that's.
But
that's
let's
what
look
that
at
is.
but let's look at the difference. The Mariners have a plus 18
Okay.
difference.
Look at
which
Miami.
is the biggest difference in the entire MLB.
Now look at Miami. They're 5-3. You think that's gonna you think that's gonna stay the case? Their differential is plus 16.
Yeah.
So come on. Now.
They're not going to stay there. But Seattle has legitimate talent in Robinson Cano.
They do.
And their pitchers are actually pitching pretty well right now.
They are.
So
I'm not gonna lie, they
we'll
are.
see where they go. We'll
Yeah.
see when Iwakuma comes back.
Yep, only the future holds. And what the future holds for us is one more segment of the Sports Stop. It's 12:25. We got another half hour left after this commercial break. So stick around. I don't know what we're going to talk about. Maybe NBA.
Probably NBA.
Probably NBA.
Yeah.
Maybe give out some dum-dums as well, so you don't want to miss it. So stick around.
Applause is just another call. Made a meal out of me. Dum 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 dum.
You know what that means.
The Dum Dums.
It's the dum-dums. Everybody's favorite segment of the Sports Stop. And it's 12:30 right now, April 9th. Call in at 718-990-3SJU. That's 718-990-3758. Tweet at us at SportsStop WSJU on the Twitter. You can tweet us one of your dum-dums or, just any other sports news that you want to share with us or your thoughts on whatever we're doing, sort of like a How's Our Driving bumper sticker. So, you heard the dum-dum noise, so we're going to be doing the dum-dums right now. Atticus, you got a dum-dum?
I do have a Dum Dum.
What is your dum-dum?
Last night, the Eastern Conference leading Miami Heat were down. LeBron James went to drive in the ball and dunk it on the Brooklyn Nets, who are the 5th seed in the conference. Went to go dunk it to win the game. Mason Plumlee. Was it Mason
Who?
Plumlee? Was it Mason? I don't remember which Plumlee it is. I believe it's Mason Plumlee. There's like 3 of them. I think it's Mason Plumlee.
He's a rookie.
Is he?
Yes.
Is he a rookie? He's either rookie or second year.
I heard
Anyway.
that. I heard that on the radio. this
Okay, he's a
morning. They
rookie.
might be wrong,
So
though.
Mason Plumlee, I think it is, went up and stuffed him. Stuffed LeBron James for the game-winning dunk.
Wow.
Yeah. And then LeBron James came back and said it was a foul. He got my right arm. Or he got my right hand. Which he did a little bit, but like...
Listen, it's a regular season. You're going to be the number one
You're the number 1 seed.
Quit complaining. You're just feeding the nation's mindset that you're just a big crybaby.
Yeah.
Stop complaining. So
Yeah.
who's the dum-dum?
LeBron James is.
LeBron James, you are a dum-dum. Don't come here and beat us up. All right, so my dum-dum, it's more of a local story.
Yeah, I love this one.
It was over the weekend at Nassau Coliseum, otherwise known as the Mausoleum over in Long Island, where the New York Islanders play. They had the annual NYPD FDNY charity hockey game. For you, those of you who are not good with acronyms, that's New York Police Department and the Fire Department, New York.
Fire Department, New York.
New York, FDNY. So they had a charity event, hockey game. The NYPD won 8-5. However, that's not the dum-dum. This is the dum-dum. They had a benches clearing brawl. I believe it was in the second period. The score was 3-3. They had a benches clearing brawl. So you got all these firefighters and you got all these police, all these cops fighting each other on the ice.
It was an all-out brawl.
It was
too.
an all-out brawl.
Everybody was fighting except for the goalies. The goalies came together at center ice and just chilled and talked for a while everybody around them was just beating each other up.
That's great. I mean, you all know that there's always I don't know if it's friendly rivalry or not, but there is some sort of rivalry between police departments and fire departments. And
Especially in New York.
Especially in New York and
Yeah.
like Boston, but like in pretty much all big cities. So just the charity hockey participants from the police department and the fire department. You guys, the dum-dums. But it was a great story. It was a great fun. If you want to look up the video, I suggest you should, because it's actually pretty funny. All right, so let's move on. We got 25 more minutes left of the Sports Stop. Evan-less and Andrew-less. Atticus, you came sort of late today, so I was a little worried that you weren't going to be here.
I didn't come. I came exactly when I always come.
No, this time you come. How early do you think you come?
I come at 10:54 to 10:55.
Okay, so then yes, you came right at that right at that moment
That's
earlier
when
today.
It's just that usually you have Evan and Andrew here
Yeah,
to help.
yeah, and when nobody was here, I was like, oh boy,
Looks
looks like I'm gonna Francesa this one.
I would have texted you if I wasn't gonna make it.
I know, but still.
I did.
You
In
never
fact,
know.
I woke up a little bit late. I might have been like a minute or two later than I usually am, just because I woke up a little bit later than I wanted to, and I couldn't shower, so I just had to like wash my hair under the shower real quick.
Goodness gracious.
But like, that's the only reason.
All right, let's go to the NBA. Of course, Kevin Durant's streak of 41 consecutive games with at least 25 points just ended.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to end for a while, actually. I'm surprised. When I saw that text, or when I saw that notification on my phone last night, I was shocked.
Who'd they play last night?
I don't remember. Let's check real quick.
Yeah, we're going to check really quickly.
They played the Kings.
The Kings.
Yeah,
With DeMarcus Cousins.
they do have DeMarcus Cousins.
But other than that, how's their defense?
Not great. I mean, they're not a good team at all. I mean,
I don't know. Maybe.
they're 27 and 51.
I'm not so sure about that. How's their point differential? Because that really shows the defense.
Point differential minus 2.8.
Okay. That's how much they lose by averaging.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
mean,
mean,
so-
the Thunder still handily beat them.
Right.
They
it was
still beat them by
it was
15.
It was 107 to 92.
Yeah.
But still, with a streak like that, 40 plus games, it sort of becomes, a habit. Like, you're like, oh, look, he did it again. No big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be a big deal if it was like 40 plus games with 35 points. But I mean, it's 25 points. Not that I'm saying it's easier to score any points in the NBA.
But I mean,
it's Kevin Durant. You're just kind of used to him scoring that much.
yeah, the best scorer in the league right now.
And that makes the Thunder very spoiled, and their fan base spoiled to have Kevin Durant.
Yeah, you know who would love to have Kevin Durant?
The Seattle
Yeah.
Supersonics.
Yeah, the team who drafted him. That brings up another great point. David Stern, just elected to the Hall of Fame.
Yes, he was.
Which sure, he was a great commissioner in his early days. He really propelled the NBA to what it is today.
Definitely.
But I think his legacy is just tainted after that awful move.
Okay. Can we look up the attendance stats and things like that? Because there was a reason why they left Seattle.
I mean,
I think it was obvious Seattle did not want them anymore.
no, Seattle definitely wanted them.
But
Seattle
they didn't
definitely
take
wanted them.
advantage of having
I mean,
a
let's
basketball
look at
team.
let's look at attendance stats for the Pelicans. Let's look at attendance stats for the Kings. Let's look at attendance stats for the T-Wolves. Let's look at attendance stats for the Bobcats. How many teams are we going to move?
I understand this, but I don't know. See, Supersonics have been there for how long?
Since the 60s.
Since the 60s.
There was a 40-year team, and you move them over a team like the Bobcats. Sure, okay, OKC deserved a team. They when there was Hurricane Katrina, and the Pelicans couldn't play, or they were the Hornets at the time. When they couldn't play in New Orleans, they went to OKC, who had an available stadium, and they sold out every single game. And OKC does sell out every single game.
Yes, they do.
Right now.
Mainly because they're a terrific team.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, I have two main points here.
Okay.
One, they deserved a team, but was it the Sonics? Did they deserve the Sonics, is what I'm saying. Two, they do sell out teams, but they have always been a good team. ever since they were moved there, they have always been a good team. Let's wait a couple years. Let's wait a few years.
Okay.
I mean, Kevin Durant will eventually. I mean, Kevin Durant's going to be around for another 10 years.
Yeah.
So
But
maybe
wait-
we'll have to wait 10 years. But let's
Wait
see
until
what
he retires.
let's see what their attendance stats are like
You know,
when they're no longer good.
He is due for free agency. What, 2 years from now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
So
think I doubt he'll leave OKC.
I mean, it's possible.
It is possible. I mean, he's
I mean, if they let him go, then to boycott the front office, I think a lot of people will stop buying tickets to the games because he is the Thunder
he was the Sonics
for a year.
for a year, but he was drafted by the Sonics. The biggest thing that hurts me right now is that David Stern took one of the top. I don't want to say 5 right
How
now.
many-
The top 10 scorers of all time away from the city of Seattle, and just gave it
How many?
to Oklahoma City.
How many championships did the Sonics win?
They had won.
When?
79.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. They went to the championship against the Bulls in '96 and lost against the Bulls. See, that's pretty tough to say though. When's the last time that they won? Because you look at the '90s that were dominated by the Bulls. Nobody
Right.
won in the '90s
That's true.
except for the 2 years that Michael Jordan was out and the Rockets won.
Right.
So I mean, it's really tough because in the last 20 years or so, the Bulls have won a lot. The Lakers have won a lot with Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
The Spurs have won a lot with Greg Popovich. You have Phil Jackson, who won 12. Well, how many did 11? He won 11 in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And then you have Greg Popovich, who's won 4? 3?
With the Spurs.
3, I think it is, in the
3 or
last
4, yeah.
12 years or so. So you have those two teams, or those two coaches, I should say, because
Yeah,
obviously
'cause
Phil Jackson
Phil Jackson
with Bulls
went-
and the Lakers, who have dominated the championships the last 20 or so years. So not actually in the entire NBA, I think I forget the exact number, but there's only 5 champions in the last 20 years. There's the Bulls, there's the Rockets, there's the Lakers,
There's the Heat.
there's the Heat, there's
The Mavericks won.
the Mavericks, the Celtics. Did we say Lakers?
Yeah, we said Lakers.
So I'm at 6 right now. I Spurs.
Did we say Spurs?
I don't remember.
All right.
Let's look it up real quick.
We
I
have
mean,
technology.
We'll talk. Yeah.
So yeah, Durant's streak ended, but he is third all time. He's fixated himself as third on that list, I believe. First is Oscar Robertson, or is it? No,
Oscar Robertson
Robertson's
is
next.
second.
He's
Yeah.
second. Then I think it's Wilt the Stilt.
Well, the still.
He had like 80-something games. It was-
I mean, he averaged an entire season. He averaged what, 45 points, something like that.
yeah, something ridiculous.
He had a game where he scored 100 points and 50 rebounds.
Yeah.
It just wasn't fair.
Of course, he was playing a bunch of like back then, the height of basketball players.
He was definitely much taller than a lot of people were.
the average.
Out there.
I want to say like the average height was like 5'10", 5'11".
And what is
That-
he, like
I might-
6'10" or something?
Yeah, I might be, over exaggerating on the amount of shortness, but there's definitely not that many big guys. All right, you're looking them
Okay,
up.
yeah. So in the last 20 years, there's only been 7 teams that have won.
That's since '94.
That's since since '94. There's only been 7 teams. We can even go back to '91 because that includes the 3 years that the Bulls won. So 23 years ago. So for the last 23 years, 7 out of the 30 teams have dominated. You got the Heat, who have won 3 in the last 7 years,
We all know the
including
Bulls.
the last 2. We got the Bulls, who won 6 in the '90s. You have the Lakers, who won 3 straight.
Yeah,
in the
the
early
Rockets
2000s.
who won when the Bulls did not.
Yes. You had the Lakers, who won 3 straight in the early 2000s, and then another 2 straight, like 2 years ago.
Spurs won 4.
Spurs won 4. Oh, Pistons won 1.
Oh,
Sorry,
right,
Pistons
yes,
won
with
1. So that's
Larry
8.
Brown.
Yeah, so Pistons won 1. And then you got the Celtics, who won their 1, and the Mavericks, who won their 1.
Yeah.
So it's mostly been dominated by four teams.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that there's a reason why basketball was moved from Seattle. They do all these stats. It's not like they were picking on the Northwest.
No, what it was is they got a new owner who said he wouldn't move them, and then as soon as he got the okay, he moved them. It's not that the NBA.
That's just heartbreaking.
It's not that the NBA was like, we need a team to move to OKC, and they looked diligently at all the different teams and which team would be best. It's that a new owner came into Seattle, bought the team, said he wasn't going to move them. He was asking for a new stadium. I mean, the Sonics did want a new stadium.
Right.
But then he just, as soon as he got the okay to move them, he moved them.
Now, nothing against Oklahoma City. But who decides to move a franchise from Seattle, which is one of the great cities in America, the Emerald City, a very great sports city? Who decides to move a basketball team from Seattle to Oklahoma City, who does not have any other sports franchises
Yeah.
in the area?
That's what I'm saying, is like, Oklahoma City...
It doesn't really make sense to me.
Oklahoma City deserved a team. They certainly deserved a team. I will not take that away from them. They have a great fan base.
They do.
They don't have any other major sports teams. They deserve an NBA team. They just didn't deserve to take
Seattle.
Yeah. They didn't. I mean, it's unfair to uproot this team and transplant it. And I mean, of course, I am biased. I am very biased. I am from the city of Seattle.
You are very, very biased.
I have grown up watching the Sonics. I watched Kevin Durant play. I'm very biased, but I mean, let's look at the Bobcats. I mean, the Bobcats. This is the second time that they have made the playoffs in 10 years.
Now,
in their 10-year history, they've only made the playoffs
I believe
twice.
the Bobcats did move to New Orleans.
I mean, the Bobcats originally moved to New Orleans, and
then they
got
got an expansion team. Yes,
but they're awful. They're absolutely awful.
Actually, they're now gonna take the Hornets' name next year.
Yeah, they are going to take the Hornets' name next year.
Under Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Honestly,
did you see that Hornets logo, by the way?
For next year's for the Charlotte?
Yeah.
No, I know they're going to keep the original colors, the purple and teal.
Yeah. It's a bit of an angrier Hornet.
Okay.
Because the New Orleans one was all cutesy. It's like, I'm a cute little Hornet.
Yeah.
This one's actually got a giant stinger, and it's a little bit meaner. It's got like mean looking eyes and whatnot.
Wait, which one? Show me the original New Orleans Hornet.
1 second.
I'll take it then. It was cutesy?
It was cutesy. Look, it's a cute little Hornet.
That is adorable.
Yeah. You can't even really tell that it's going to come out and sting you and cause you a lot of pain.
It looks like one of those, the Pokemon.
It really does look like a Pokemon, yeah.
All right, let's get out of the past. And let's start talking about the Pacers, man. They're stumbling.
They're 3-7 in the last 10 games.
They're stumbling into the playoffs.
They have been playing awfully lately. Absolutely awful.
And now they're going to bench some of their starters. I
Yeah.
read Frank Vogel, their head coach, has decided to bench some of their starters. So obviously they're content with the number 2 seed.
I mean, it's good though. I mean, it's good that they're benching starters.
Yeah, definitely. But here's my thoughts.
Yeah.
If they don't make it to the conference finals, not the championship game, but the conference finals,
Yeah.
I see Frank Vogel getting canned. He's fired. He's done.
You think so?
Yes.
I mean, it's a Met-like downfall right now.
Yeah, very
it's a
much so.
Met-like disaster.
I mean, they're very lucky that they clinched.
That they did so well in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
They are playing Charlotte in the first game.
Okay.
Which, I mean, as it stands right now, I mean, Charlotte could pass Washington, perhaps. That's the only change that could really happen right now.
Right.
So they're either going to play the Bobcats or the Wizards, which I really see it being the Bobcats. So, I mean, they'll probably get through that round. Probably. Maybe not how they're going right now.
Yeah, they're just stumbling hardcore.
Yeah, but I see them getting through that round. I don't see them making it to the conference finals at all, though. I don't see them getting past that round.
If they don't, I say Frank Vogel gets canned.
I might have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Because this is an awful fall right here. I mean, you even had Paul George at the beginning of the season just tearing it up. He hasn't done anything in the last 2 months.
I mean, and of course you're not going to fire a star player. You got to fire somebody though, and it's going to be the coach.
Yeah.
Because that's how it always goes. But I mean, he's treading water. If he doesn't make it to the conference finals, yeah, I'm sorry, he's gone.
Yeah.
Speaking of playoffs, New York technically still is in the hunt.
They're a game and a half back of Atlanta. There's 4 games left.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, well, Atlanta's got 5 games left. New York's got 4 games left. So they have to win out. They have to win out, and they have
Pretty
to
much,
hope that Atlanta loses, too.
Yeah. Actually, a report came out that Atlanta wasn't looking to make the playoffs.
Really?
That's what their GM said.
They're 3-7 in the last 10 years.
And 10 games.
10 games, yeah.
And New York is 5-5. They're playing 500 ball.
Yeah.
They
I mean, they're 423 though overall.
Yeah.
If New York makes it to the playoffs with a percentage like that,
that's sad.
it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. You look in the Western Conference, Phoenix is the 8 seed. They're at almost 600%.
Yeah, go down. I always like looking at this. Let's play who has a better winning percentage who's out of the playoffs in the West. New York's is 423.
Yeah. You got to go down to Denver.
Denver would beat
the 11th team.
Yeah, Denver would beat New York into going to the playoffs.
I always enjoy comparing the 1 to the 1, the 2 to 2, the 3 to the 3, right?
Right.
I believe at least, well, it has to be, yeah. Every single one is higher. Every single position in the Western Conference has a higher percentage than every single position in the Eastern Conference. I mean, even Utah is the worst team in the Western Conference. They're an awful team. They're the worst team. They still have a 30 percentage or 30% winning percentage.
30 winning percentage.
Yeah, where you got 4 teams. You got 4 teams in the Eastern Conference that are below that.
Under the .300 mark.
Yeah.
Now, you have 3 teams in the Western Conference that are over the 700 winning percentage mark.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anybody from the Eastern Conference.
No, nobody. And San Antonio is 769. I mean, they just snapped, a 19-game winning streak?
Maybe the Heat, if they win out, they could get to that 700 mark. But
they just barely touch it.
Yeah.
San Antonio is in there.
Yes.
San Antonio is well into the
they're
700s.
They're almost 775 to go up to a nice rounded number.
They could hit that, actually.
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, we'll see what Pop does. I mean, they easily got they practically got the 1 seed locked up. They're 3.5 games out.
Seed.
Yeah, or they're 3.5 games up. There's 4 games left, so they got the 1 seed. Last night they lost, I think, to the Grizzlies, but Tony Parker wasn't playing. Mono only played 20 minutes. Tim Duncan only played 20 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, Pop was playing a lot of his bench players last night. I think he was really resting his main guys.
And they're an older team, so you have to do that.
Yeah, and this is what Popovich does. He's always resting his players.
What was it, last year they played the Heat and on TNT or some sort of nationally televised game.
And he benched
the big three for the Spurs.
He got fined for that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is stupid. I hate that.
Yeah.
The NBA is like, you must play your good players, but they're old. They need
that's
their
your boy
rest
David Stern.
Gotta love him. Gotta love Hall of Fame right there.
He is a Hall of Famer.
I agree. He should go to the Hall of Fame.
Definitely.
But he certainly made some mistakes in his career.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We got 10 minutes left. How about a little bit of golf?
A little bit of golf?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phil played last week, and he's going to play in the Masters. They have all these events today. I think the par 3 tournament's actually today, if I'm not mistaken. That's
I do actually like that tournament, too.
It's with all the old guys like Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus. They're playing golf on Augusta. Some of the pros' kids are playing.
Yeah. I actually really enjoy that tournament because you do get to see all those old people. And it's just a par 3. It's a shorter course.
Right, yeah.
It's really just a pitch and putt.
Definitely. So that's today. And Phil's there. He's going to participate. He's going to be with Rory McIlroy. He's going to be paired up with him the first few rounds.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. But Phil said, quote, "It's going to feel weird without Tiger Woods at the."
I'm sure it will.
Definitely, because as we said in the news, first time in 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years that Tiger Woods hasn't been there.
And that's amazing. I mean, you're 19.
Yeah. So my entire life, pretty much.
He's been playing in the Masters.
Yeah.
It's something else.
So, I mean, it's certainly going to be much different. I know the viewership is going to drop. It's the Masters, so there will be a lot of viewers there. Yeah. Especially if Phil is golfing, Rory's golfing. There will be
a bunch of people, like Jason Day, I believe his name is.
Yeah, you got Bubba Watson.
Bubba Watson, of course, always a fan favorite.
Yeah, you got the Golf Boys.
The Golf Boys.
Actually.
Hunter Mahan, Bubba. You got Ricky Fowler.
Yeah.
And who's the other one?
I don't remember.
Evan's gonna kill me if he's listening. I I'm gonna have to look it up.
But I mean, you still got some good name people out there.
Oh
Golfers.
yeah.
But you just don't have Tiger.
No, yeah,
You don't have the face of golf out there.
Hunter Mahan, Ben Crane.
Ben Crane.
Yes.
So I mean, it'll
he's
still
the
be
final
a
golf
good
boy.
it'll be a good Masters. I doubt I'll watch it.
I'm definitely gonna watch it.
You're gonna watch it. I'll probably periodically check up on it. You know, like on my phone, just check the scores.
I mean, first you got opening day,
Yeah.
which is, my official spring start. Then you got the Masters, which, if it's been cold for the first week of baseball, then Masters is like, yes, it's definitely spring. So, I mean, just life on a golf course is so beautiful, especially in Augusta. They keep that place so well kept and, a bunch of flowers, always sunny. Except for Monday, I believe it was the first time it was rained out. Well, their practice was rained out.
Wow.
Since 2003. But still, it's I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
The Masters is always fun to watch for me.
It is. But I really enjoy watching Tiger. It's a huge part for me.
Yeah, and it's sad that he won't be there.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
I hope that he gets better soon.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that he comes back soon.
Yeah, hopefully. Cal Ripken Jr., I saw this last week. I might have said it on the show or not. I don't know. But he said that he had a similar surgery to Tiger Woods back in 97. And he said that it took him a year to feel where he was before the surgery. So, I mean,
you also got to look, that's 17 years ago. Medicine's definitely advanced a lot more than it has since then.
And also, Ripken played every day.
Yeah.
So,
recovery times are getting shorter and shorter and shorter every year. People tear ACLs, they're back in 6 months.
Yeah, and Tiger's injury prone, though. Like now, pretty much after that U.S. Open playoff game against Rocco, when he had the torn meniscus or ACL or something like that, he did something to his knee, which was amazing. But after that, and then after his whole fiasco, it seems like he's just been injury prone.
Yeah.
Very Matt Kempish. But
he needs an Andre Ethier.
He does need an Andre Ethier. Or at least, I don't know. I had no follow-up with that. I apologize. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we got 5 minutes left. 4. So not much time, but you can call in 718-990-3SJU. That's 718-990-3758.
I'd just like to touch back on NBA real quick.
Yeah, sure.
I am really excited for these playoffs coming up. I'm really excited.
Particularly the West Coast.
Particularly the Western Conference.
Western Conference.
But the Eastern Conference has some interesting matchups here. You got Chicago and Brooklyn.
And you got the Pacers falling.
You got Pacers
that
falling.
That really worries me.
Yeah. You got Chicago and Brooklyn, who I think are two very good teams right in the middle. Brooklyn, after last night, after that Plumlee block...
Yeah, they swept the Heat this
they're
season.
4-0 against the Heat, which is insane.
Which would have swept them in the in a playoff series.
In a playoff series, yeah. If they played them 4 times, that's a win right there. Chicago's been hot all year. They've had Joakim Noah, who could be up in MVP talks if it wasn't for Kevin Durant scoring 32-something points per game.
And, of course, you always have LeBron up there.
You always have LeBron up there.
You say it's Durant, I think it's definitely Durant.
He's averaging 32 points per game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that is ridiculous.
He doesn't have an MVP award. Durant.
Does he not? No, I don't think he does. No.
He's got plenty of scoring scoring titles, but he does not have
that's typically because he's always been a great scorer.
Right.
Not a great... he's a good all-around player, but not a great all-around player.
Right.
But this year, he's averaging 32 points, 7.6 rebounds, and 5.6 assists, on top of 1.3 steals, so he gets over a steal per game, and almost a block per game.
There you go.
Like, he is having an amazing season, really. Everybody's looking at him for his scoring, which his scoring is top notch right now.
Yeah, 41 consecutive games with 25 plus.
Yeah, third highest of all time.
Yeah.
But he's having a great all around season. I really think he deserves Deserves the
MVP talks.
MVP.
Yeah. And the award.
He's averaging. Kevin Durant is averaging more points than LeBron James, more rebounds, one less assist, a little less steals, and more blocks.
There you go.
So,
I think it should be pretty easy to tell who's going to be the MVP.
Yeah.
So what are you doing this weekend?
This weekend?
Yeah.
Not much.
No?
Watching baseball, probably. Watching some basketball, probably.
1 week before Easter.
It is 1 week before Easter. That'll be a nice break. I'm looking forward to that break.
Yeah, of course. Here at St. John's, we're off that Thursday, Holy Thursday, through the Monday after.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate that break though, because I was gonna have my friend come out and stay with me.
Right? Yeah.
And
what's going on with that?
You can't have any guest whatsoever.
Right.
Like, I understand. Like, I mean, I don't really understand no overnight guests, but I expected the no overnight guests. So I was like, maybe I can find a couch for him to stay on, and he can come hang out with us during the day. I looked, and you can't even have guests, non-SJU students, during the day.
Really?
Yeah. So even if he were to stay on a couch, he couldn't come into my dorm ever from Wednesday night to Monday night.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he was like, no, I'm not going to come out. And I was like, I don't blame you, because you would be stuck in a house that I don't know too well all day long. And then we'd have to go to Manhattan or Brooklyn all day long.
Spending money.
Yeah.
It doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah.
It's tough. No, 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
We made it.
The two of us.
Yep. A little short-handed, but it's all right. We went the distance.
What about you? What are you doing this weekend?
This weekend, I probably nothing. Probably watching baseball and Masters.
Yeah.
Maybe playing a little wiffle ball.
Oh, nice. Invite me out there.
All right, we'll do.
I would love to play.
Yeah. Hopefully Evan's back this weekend, because he is the bat.
Nice. I have a bat in my Jeep, but that's back in Seattle.
Oh, see, that doesn't help me.
No.
All right. So, again, it's 1 o'clock here in the top of Marillac, so that's all the time we have. Thank you for spending your lunch hour with us. For Atticus George-Andrijeski, I am James Mitchell, saying life is good today. Let's keep it that way. Have a beautiful Wednesday.
Baby.